Be a man. You can't be vulnerable. Why is your life not figured out yet? You're running out of time. No woman will ever like you with your broke self. These are kind of the statements that boys/men usually go through, yet you wonder why they're dying from suicide. Stay tuned to learn more.
Heartbeat yangu inagonga sana, inanipea blood pressure. Juu society ni matailor. Success yangu anamesha na nguo ya jirani.
On today's episode, we're going to have a man talk, and I'm really honored to have this conversation with our guest today, Poeta. He's a poet, a podcaster of the Unedited Voices, and an event planner of the Arteast Hub, currently running the Loud Silence series. So welcome, Poeta, to Vibing with Stay Grayy.
Asante sana, nashukuru.
I'm really excited for today because I've been wanting to talk about men's mental health for the longest time. Since I live with boys and I've lived with them for the most part of my life, and I wanted to learn how they usually perceive stuff and how they just usually solve their problems, because sometimes I'm usually quite worried. Are they depressed? Are they going through something? How can I help them? So that's why I get so harmful, or let me say harmless, because there's nothing I can do for them because I don't know how to approach them or how to help them. So I'm hoping this podcast will help the young boys out there and even older men to navigate their life, because I know life is quite tricky sometimes. We have our struggles, and when you listen to this podcast, you'll get solutions to your problems. So Poeta here is a poet. So I wanted to ask you, what led you to this form of art? Why did you choose poetry as a form of expression in your life?
I think there has been this narrative of why we choose what we do. But at times you ask yourself, do you choose, or what you're doing or where you are chose you? So I don't know if it may appear that I'm bragging, but honestly, I feel that poetry chose me because I was born to be vocal. I was born to advocate for issues and just address different parts of myself, and address also issues that affect people in the society. So I can't say I chose poetry, but poetry chose me because I have a history of coming from a memory verse background to a choral verse to being a narrator, and also being an actor of set books. So basically I was born to do this. And going into the poetry world, I started off as wanting to address the society and how it was fragile. But now I realize it wasn't even about that. It was me using the background that I was in to fuel what I wanted to actually project. But now I'm feeling like I just wanted to be an artist who is expression, who is more outspoken. So basically, yes, that's why poetry chose me.
So take me through that story, because I know it has been quite a journey. Take me back to your life, your younger years, and the time period when poetry chose you and what you were dealing with and how it helped you navigate through what you were going through.
So when you say I take you back to my younger years, do you mean as me or as an artist in poetry?
Let's fuse them, because you were navigating through life, so you discovered poetry. So I just want to see that picture of how you started and how it helped you, your backstory, that is.
So let me be personal a little bit. Growing up, I was this tiny boy. And I went to school in Salama Primary School here in Nairobi. And then later on, from class 4, I went to Shago, the upcountry, to study, the next primary level years, from class 4 to class 8. So basically, I was this tiny guy who was to be, was really say to be seen and not to be heard. So this was something that was building up. But being a kid, you don't understand most of this stuff and how they'll affect you in the future. And then So being in up country, you are the tiny kid, but you are in your class. You have big boys. Nowadays they call it chilling with the big boys. So I was chilling with the big boys basically, and I could not express myself or even be part of sports and games because the people who you were matching yourself with were on a higher level. So I was asking myself, how can I be able to talk my issues out or even be part of a culture or a community that I want to express myself with. And sports was not one of them. Tukiju kama nilikuwa mambo ya football, I wasn't fit for football. Basketball, I wasn't that tall. But I told myself I need to dig deep and know what my potential is. And basically, that's how I found that my purpose was in these extracurricular activities to do with art. So nikaanza na choral verses, doing poems zile za high school, you know how they're structured. And then later on, in Sunday school, I could be a narrator. So basically, I was the one who was telling the story, and then other people act the part. So kutoka hapo, in high school, I went to Lumbi High School, met some of my friends, akina Brax, the commissioner, and Defres, they were rappers. So I was like, hey man, these people are dope. And me, I'm looking at my lyrics and I'm like, hey, I can't match what they were doing. But I was like, sawa, let me just write. So basically what happened, during my KCSE, I could do my exams so fast that when it was remaining like 10 minutes and then the exam is over, I could scribble lyrics on the exam paper. So basically that's what I was doing. Every paper, inspiration was just coming. This was Form 4. And even I remember leaving out a whole blank sheet, not tending to it because I was so fired up. I just wanted to write the lyrics. And kuna exam ingine, I think it was geography. Sikufanya paper C. What? Mando na malzei na kumka. Kwani hizi questions zilikuwa zinazo ngapi? But nilikuwa naandika tu mistari. So kutoka hapo ndo nikakuja huku nje. I was to start my poetry journey as a group. Let me I don't know if it will be bragging or what. I was to start my poetry journey as a group. But unapata the group that I was in, yes tulikuwa tunaenda kufanya show. So everyone alikuwa na showcase mistari zake. Mimi kushowcase mistari zangu wali quit. Basically wali quit wakasema, bro, hatuwezi endelea hivi, wewe fanya hivi. Wewe wenyewe ndo poet, si hakuna kile tunadu. And that's how I picked up my poetry journey.
So that's an incredible journey of how you started your poetry. But there's one thing I wanted to know. Did the society's mundane perspective ground you from doing whatever you are doing? Being a poet, you should be vulnerable, expressing your feelings, telling people how you feel, pouring out your emotions. So, and in our world today, men are told not to be vulnerable because they feel like it's very feminine. So did that hold you or stop you from doing what you are supposed to do, or you just went out to do it either way?
That's a very good question, actually. So basically, with poetry, it's funny or it's crazy because what the society feeds you can be inspiration or it can be a downfall. I mean, somebody can tell you, poetry, what is poetry? Poetry is a messed up field where people talk about things that they don't even understand. Or poets are just deep philosophers who just talk words and there are things that are not reality. So basically, poetry, when you're a poet, you need to have, let me not say a tough side, but just be an open-minded person. And that's how I was, open-minded. You hate me, and I use that as an inspiration. Let me tell you a story about poetry. In 2015, ladies could not date poets because they were like, a poet will break your heart and form a poem out of it. And basically cash out. So they're like, dating a poet is like a ticking time bomb. Because you're always not sure if, is he talking to me genuinely right now or is he reciting his poetry? So you're always there wondering, mtu anajiexpress sahi yenyewe ama ananiambia ananipenda. So it was crazy. That's how society was. And then the other side of the society was, you guys talk about serious stuff. You guys you should take it easy. So poets could not be invited to shows because, hey, unakuja hapa kutuambia ukweli na sisi tumekam tu kurelax. But you see, people are hiding from the truth. People are forming a mask that they wanted to have because we don't want to face society issues. You know they're there, so why not talk about, like, why talk about them? And asking why not? So society has been a barrier to poets, but also it has been the biggest contributor to poets, because what we see in the society is what we write in our poetry, and then we give back to the society in a very creative way. Basically, me, when I was starting, I was talking about issues, suffering, and all that. So I was asking myself, why am I talking about these issues? And then I asked myself, why not? Because at some point you need to address what you're facing. And then as you grow, you realize there are more issues that need to be talked about, and not just societal plights or sufferings and all that. Poetry is beautiful. You can talk about love. You can talk about gender-based violence. You can talk about God. You can talk about toilet. You can talk about swimming. So poetry is beautiful. It's not just a matter of addressing issues that affect people in the society all the time. So basically, society has been a contributor in my life, and also at some point it was kind of a wall, because as you said, I was in the studio, I think last year but one. And there were rappers in the studio. You know, these open studios, there are rappers there, and then you as a poet, you have to express yourself. But these rappers, the studio was full of men, and you want to express yourself so much, you want to be vulnerable. And then, you go ahead and do it, because me, I'm courageous. I'll go ahead and do it. I'll not care who you are or what you think. I go ahead and do my stuff. And then later on, they start mocking you. And like, oh, Poeta, you are full of like dreadlocks, and then you're like, oh,
yeah, sorry, yeah.
So you're like, man, this is poetry. I don't care what you think. That is how I do my work. You can be a rapper and you're talking about how gangster you are, but you even fear cockroaches in your house. So, so you see, being an artist is crazy. It's either you pick what people throw at you and use it to your advantage, or you break down. And now that's a personal choice. I cannot talk about other poets, but for me, I take everything and with an open mind.
And I like that, being oblivious to what the society thinks or whatever anyone says about you and your work. You're just doing you and being creative. So outside of the creative world, I want us to be general here. I want you to tell me some of the insecurities that males do have and how they can solve them, because some of these issues are what makes them to fall into depression and just kill themselves. And yet you are here asking that, why has so-and-so killed himself? But he's so brave. He doesn't show any weakness, or he's never vulnerable. He's always happy, cracking jokes. But you come to see that he killed himself, and we're just left asking some questions that we can't answer because he didn't even leave a note or something. We're just shocked how this happened. So just tell me some of the male insecurities and how they can solve them.
Okay. So talking about men or male, I can talk about myself as a man, as a male, and then maybe I can just highlight a few issues about other men, because as I said, I normally don't want to stereotype and I don't want to generalize, and I'll be vulnerable at this point so that somebody can relate to who Poeta is. So the thing I realized about the society is I was born innocent. When I was being born, 0 years, I was born innocent. You couldn't say, this is Poeta's personality, this is who he will be, this is who he is. I was born innocent, and I was just innocent until at some point, as you progress in life, as you evolve, you start picking societal expectations, because now you come into a world that is full of different people, different standards, and then you want to either fit in or pick things from the society and use it to mold yourself, and that is what now brings societal expectations. So you were born innocent, but at some point you realize that you have picked so much in the society and what society is all about. And basically everyone wants to mold themselves to fit in a certain community. And that's what men go through. Let me ask you, is a man human or is a man not human?
He's a human,
A man is a
emotional
human being, yes. A woman is a human being.
Yes.
But now what differentiates between, now when it comes to men, this is, how men should be. Or when it comes to women, this is how women should be. Who came up with that
I guess
curriculum?
it's just right from the beginning. The first male was given the obligation of taking care of stuff. He was the one left in charge.
Okay.
So that's why men get the need of being the superhero at all times, being the rock. Not to be shaken or just to be there to guide the family.
And who is a powerful woman? Or what details does a powerful woman have?
Powerful woman.
Let's talk about women, and then they say this is a powerful woman, this is a woman.
A powerful woman.
Who is a powerful woman to you?
A woman who is all-rounded. She knows what she's supposed to do in-house. She's submissive and also works so hard to keep her family together and also her finances in check. That's a powerful woman to me.
Interesting. And I like how you have put it about the family and taking care of your family and you and all that. But we do realize there are women who are single. They don't have a family. They don't have a husband. They don't have a boyfriend. There are men who are single who don't even have a girlfriend or a woman or a wife. So this is just a man. This is a general man who is just him. Let's not talk even about a man who has a wife or a kid or a family. They're just men. So we realize the responsibilities are different. When you have a family, the responsibilities are different from when you're alone. But when you talk about a man in general, Poeta, me as a person, the first thing I have as a human being is vulnerability. I am vulnerable. I can be vulnerable to my environment, what affects me, and even me, my insecurities as a person. So basically, as a man, I am vulnerable, so meaning I am allowed to cry. I'm allowed to be sad. I'm allowed to be happy. But now, being a man, and the way you were saying from the Genesis, you are expected to do this, this, and this, which is okay. But now, the crazy thing is, the man of now wants to be a man in terms of how society perceives men to be.
Yes.
You see, I want to be Poeta, but the way society knows Poeta, not how Poeta is. And basically that's the struggle that we are going through as men. Unataka kuwe mwanaume, but wale watu wanafikiriangaje kunihusu, like who do they know Poeta to be? And you see, that's a character that maybe you have built because of the societal expectation, or you have just chosen to mold yourself according to other people and not you. So basically what men are going through is they are being men, but under other people's expectations. So that's one thing that the male species wanapitia. Another, in terms of vulnerability, another thing is putting so much pressure to ourselves. Like, yes, we have to, each and every person, there's so much pressure in life, which, I mean, it depends with how you react to it. Basically, a man is 99% to how he reacts to life. So another thing is societal pressure or the pressure that we put to ourselves personally. Like, I just don't want to be me. I want to be me, but nataka niko na expectation ya vile society inafaa inifikirie. It's not about you. So basically what the 21st century man anapitia, they're not being men, or they're not being themselves. Let me not say men. They're not being themselves. They're being a replica of what the society wants them to be. So in general, if I generalize men, they're being expectations of what the society wants them to be. But if I talk about now me as a person, my issues can be vulnerability, body-wise, if you look at me, I'm a slim guy. So basically, that's the first thing that and body shame. There was a time I was even joking about my slimness. Hadi nasema, I don't know if this should be the cameras, but anyway, I'm an artist. Nilikuwa nasema hadi kuna time nilikuwa I'm so slim that nashikanisha boxer na pegs, unajua? Like nashikanisha juu hata boxer hizi ni fit. But I came to embrace my vulnerabilities. Man, mimi niko na forehead, hata sasa hivi nimeificha. But yeah, I always say in my poetry that usinilete kitchen already in a forehead. I mean, I embrace my vulnerabilities and I love them. You know, you throw this at me and I take it and turn it the other way around. So basically, that's how I am as a man. Vulnerabilities are part of me. My joys, my happiness are part of me. So basically, that's 99% of who a man is or who Poeta is.
That's basically so interesting what you've talked about, involving vulnerability and how men are supposed to feel, and it's not a crime to be an emotional being. So do you have any possible solutions to these insecurities men tend to come across in their daily lives? How can you help them navigate through this issue and just help them be true to themselves?
So, yes, I can just share my thoughts because, as I said, each and every man deals with their own household problems or even successes. So basically, for me, as a counselor, I observe a lot, I listen a lot to what people go through and also what I go through. And at times you can be going through something, and when you share with another person, they resonate with it. Like they're like, wow, you know, I also was nilikuwa napitia kitu kama hiyo. And when you share unarealize yenyewe, people have there's a common thread that guides that binds us together as men. Basically, each and every person may be having their own share of life difficulties, but at the end of it, you realize it's just the degree. Maybe yako iko hapa na mingine iko huko. So let me talk about men and comparing themselves to other men, which actually is 99% of what inatuletanga mashida. When I want to be like the other person, what am I doing to myself? I'm insulting myself, yeah? Insulting myself means I was born unique, but I want to be like another person. And I don't even know about how they were, their foundation, what their values are, or what their goals are. But so why should I be like the other person? Why should a woman, or why should the society, or why should my mother or a father or a friend compare me to another person? That's an insult to you coming from them, and also you accepting it. You know, you have to be, when somebody throws a stone at you, it's either you stand there and it hits you, or you try to duck it. You can duck it and it still hits a part of you, but you can sit there and it hits you fully. So the society will be harsh. Life will be harsh to us. But at the end of it, it's about how are you reacting to what life or society is hitting at you. There's a story that I read today about the egg. When you hit the egg from outside, you are killing a life. When you're breaking it from outside, the eggshell. But when it's breaking from the inside, it's bringing life. So basically, everything that is life is brought from the inside. From the inside. So even as a man, you are the person who knows yourself better. If you're a woman, you know yourself better. So the society can hit you from the outside, but you can grasp all that, you can magnetize all that, and bring something beautiful from the inside. So it's about us bringing something beautiful from the inside to the outside world. Let me talk about struggles. When you're going to the toilet, do you normally announce to the world?
No.
Like, have you ever went and sat in a field and you are taking a dump there so that the world can see your struggles? Let's say you are having constipation. Utaenda kwa field and you're like, yeah, now I want to show you how I want to really deal with this constipation. I mean, you hide, yeah? So kila mtu anaendaga na mashida zake, anajieka mahali, they work on them. It's like I'm comparing it to a toilet because nobody knows the struggles that go about in the toilet. If you're having constipation, it's only you and the toilet. I mean, if you're having a running stomach, it's only you and your toilet. Those are your struggles. So when you're talking about suicide and all that, I cannot comprehend what led somebody to commit suicide. There are different, stuff, different contributors to the suicidal stuff. But all I know is each and every person deals with their own struggles on their own. At times, you can call yourself to a meeting and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? It's good to feel sad. And basically, when men are hindered or they are blocked for them not to feel sad, this pain will not go away. It will just be accumulated at a certain place and then siku moja inalipuka. And now that's how unasikia mtu ameenda amecommit suicide, amefanya kitu crazy. But being vulnerable is human, so it just means life can hit you, but how do you react to it? That's what that matters. So yeah, it's about how we react to anything that hits us, either internally or externally.
Okay, that has been a juicy message that you've had from Poeta, the possible solutions and the need to always wanting to be like somebody else. I mean, girls always face it too, but just because you're having a man talk today, I'm not going to dive into that. So if you're a boy out there, just be true to yourself. Stop comparing yourself with other people. You are a unique person. You have your own power. So you just looking at somebody else and their success is not doing you any favor. Actually, you are insulting yourself, just like he has said. You are insulting your power, you're insulting your intellect. You're just doing a terrible stuff to yourself. And all of this mental struggles always start from inside, and it's only you can put a stop to them. Stop listening to society's nonsense about who you're supposed to be. Why should society tell you how you're supposed to be? You're the one who knows how you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to talk about and how you're supposed to behave. You're the one who knows yourself in depth. So just do yourself a favor and listen to yourself. I mean, be true to yourself and just stop trying to look for outward validation from other people. And if your friend isn't doing you any favor or being a good friend to you and pushing you towards things that are not purpose related, you can just let them go. It's not a must you ride along with people who are dragging you down. Run along with people who are making you invest in your mental health, financial health, spiritual health. Those are your go-to friends if you want to succeed in life. And as a girl, I usually look up to boys who have a strong mental spirit. Let me call it a warrior spirit. A person who, even though society throws at them a lot of stuff to them, they just they have a mental shield which they use to shield them from all this nonsense. And I commend my brother for that because he has been a true inspiration for me, and I like how he does his things and how he advises people to run their lives. So big up to my brother, and I love you so much and you deserve better. And to all my male friends out there, put your life into great perspective, follow the right crowd, and be true to yourself. That's it for today, and I hope that you've learned a lot from this episode. Bye.